Welcome back to our channel Rare Coins Hub. In today's video, we're going to explore something really interesting and exciting. So, if you want to find out what you'll learn by staying with us till the end, make sure to watch the whole video. Stay with us, because whatever you might miss could be really important. Let's get started. In 1999, the United States Mint produced a coin that would become an iconic piece in American numismatic history, the 1999 USA 1-dime coin. But what made this seemingly ordinary dime so remarkable? Was it the era in which it was minted, or was there something more that elevated its value? Let's dive into the fascinating world of this coin, its history, its design, and the incredible journey that transformed it from a standard piece of currency into a valuable collector's item. The year 1999 marked the end of a century and the cusp of a new millennium, a time when the world was on the brink of dramatic changes. As we entered the final year of the 20th century, the United States Mint was hard at work producing the nation's currency. In 1999, the dime coin, which had been a symbol of American financial stability for decades, was still in circulation, bearing the portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. This familiar image was not only an iconic representation of a man who led the nation through the Great Depression and World War II but also an enduring symbol of resilience. The design of the 1999 dime, like its predecessors, was created by the talented artist John R. Sinek, who crafted the original Roosevelt portrait back in 1946. Sinek's design for the dime, depicting Roosevelt in profile, was meant to honor the president's legacy after his passing. The reverse of the coin, showing a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, represents liberty, peace, and strength, values that were central to the ideals of the United States at the time of Roosevelt's presidency. But 1999 wasn't just another year in the history of the dime. It was a year in which the mint was experimenting with new techniques, designs, and ways to make coins more distinctive. One of the most notable elements of the 1999 series was the introduction of the State Quarter Program, a groundbreaking initiative that aimed to feature designs representing all 50 states on the back of the quarter-dollar coin. This program quickly captured the public's imagination, drawing attention to the designs and inspiring an entire generation of coin collectors. Amid this whirlwind of innovation, the humble dime found itself in the spotlight in a surprising way. It wasn't just about the state quarters, there was something about the 1999 dime that set it apart. You see, not all coins minted in 1999 were identical. This was due to the way the coins were struck and the unique circumstances that arose in the minting process. In the years leading up to 1999, the U.S. Mint had been working on perfecting its coin production technology. By 1999, the Mint was using state-of-the-art presses and materials to strike the coins, which ensured better quality, more precision, and more consistent designs. However, even with all this technology, something went awry during the production of some of the 1999 dimes. A small but significant error took place during the minting process that led to a series of coins with an unusual characteristic, a noticeable misalignment of the design elements. While such errors are not uncommon in coin production, the significance of this particular mistake was that it created a limited number of coins that were distinct from the standard issue. This was not just a simple error, it was an anomaly that caught the attention of numismatists and coin collectors alike. These misaligned dimes became the subject of intense scrutiny as collectors sought to find and acquire these rare specimens. Over time, the story of these misaligned 1999 dimes became a legend in the world of coin collecting. And as word spread about the existence of these rarities, collectors began to scour through rolls of dimes and examine their coins with a magnifying glass, hoping to find one of these valuable specimens. The rarity and the story behind these misaligned dimes added an air of mystique to the coins, driving up their demand among collectors. But what really sets the 1999 USA 1 dime apart, aside from its design and the error that occurred in its minting process, is its incredible journey into the world of high-value collectibles. When a coin becomes a rarity due to a manufacturing mistake, it enters a unique market where its value isn't just determined by its metal content or its face value. The value of these misaligned dimes would skyrocket due to their limited supply, the fascination of collectors, and the historical significance of the error. So, what makes these misaligned dimes so special? Why do collectors go to such great lengths to find one? The answer lies in the rarity of the error and the story that comes with it. In the world of numismatics, rarity is one of the most important factors in determining a coin's value. The fewer coins that exist, the higher the demand, and the more valuable the coin becomes. With these misaligned 1999 dimes, the scarcity combined with the intrigue of the error creates a perfect storm for collectors. Now, let's talk numbers. The 1999 USA 1 dime is not just a piece of currency, it's a treasure. When a misaligned dime shows up for sale, it often sells for thousands of dollars, depending on its condition and the severity of the error. But the most astonishing fact is that these coins have been known to sell for much more. A particularly well-preserved specimen with a significant misalignment can fetch an impressive sum.in fact. The highest price ever paid for a 1999 misaligned dime reached an eye-watering $98,000. That's right, nearly $100,000 for a dime that, just a few years earlier, was worth just 10 cents. The fact that such a small mistake during the minting process could lead to such an enormous payoff is a testament to the fascinating world of coin collecting and the rare, often unpredictable value of numismatic treasures. So, how do you spot a misaligned 1999 dime? It's not just about looking for a coin with a slightly off-center design. Collectors will typically look for coins where the portrait of Roosevelt or the reverse design elements, like the torch and the olive branches, appear shifted or misaligned in a way that's not seen in standard 1999 dimes. These errors can range from small misalignments to more extreme shifts, and the more extreme the error, the higher the coin's value. Finding one of these rare coins is no easy task. Given how many dimes were minted in 1999, the chances of coming across a misaligned specimen are slim. But for those who are willing to search through rolls of dimes, check through coin collections, or attend coin shows, the potential reward can be extraordinary. If you're lucky enough to find one of these coins, you could be holding a rare gem that is worth tens of thousands of dollars. The 1999 USA 1 dime coin stands as an example of how even the most seemingly ordinary pieces of currency can become something extraordinary. It's a reminder of the intricate processes behind coin production, the role of human error, and the passion of collectors who seek to preserve and appreciate the history embedded in each coin. What started as a simple dime, struck with a mistake, turned into a highly sought-after rarity that commands a value that few could have predicted. In the world of coin collecting, value doesn't always come from what is immediately obvious. Sometimes, it's the small details, the errors, the misalignments, the imperfections, that turn a common coin into a rare treasure. The 1999 USA 1 dime is proof that even the most humble pieces of currency can hold great worth, and as collectors continue to search for these misaligned dimes, their story grows ever more fascinating. So, the next time you come across a dime from 1999, take a closer look. You never know, you might be holding onto a piece of history worth far more than its 10-cent face value. The 1999 USA 1 dime, in all its history, design, and value, is a reminder that sometimes, it's the imperfections that make something truly priceless. The year 2004, much like any year in the history of coinage, was filled with milestones, changes, and the production of many coins that would eventually find their way into the pockets and collections of millions of Americans. Among these coins was the 2004 USA 1 dime, an ordinary coin by most standards, yet it carries a rich history, a fascinating design, and, for some fortunate collectors, a value that's far greater than its face value. In this video, we're going to explore everything you need to know about the 2004 dime, its historical context, its design elements, the intricacies of its minting process, the errors that make certain dimes from this year so sought after, and, of course, the incredible value of these rare coins in today's market. Let's start by stepping back in time to 2004. The world was in a very different place. In the United States, President George W. Bush was in office, and the country was dealing with the aftermath of the September 11th attacks, as well as ongoing military operations in the Middle East. The economy, though recovering, was still adjusting to the disruptions caused by those events. The 2004 dime, like many coins in circulation at the time, was a small, everyday part of American life, with its design unchanged from the dimes that had been in circulation since the mid-1940s. But how did we get to the 2004 dime? To understand the 2004 edition, we need to first look at the design that had been in place for nearly 6 decades. The Roosevelt dime, featuring a portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, was introduced in 1946 to honor the late president. Roosevelt had died in office, and his image on the dime was meant as a tribute to his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II. The design, created by artist John R. Sinek, featured Roosevelt in profile, with his signature strong, determined gaze and the word "Liberty" etched above his head. On the reverse side of the coin, Sinek's design included a torch, an olive branch, and an oak branch, symbolizing the 3 essential principles that Roosevelt had embodied: liberty, peace, and strength. The Roosevelt dime quickly became one of the most recognizable and beloved coins in U.S. history. By the time the 2004 dimes were being struck, the design had been in place for almost 60 years. In the early 2000s, the U.S. Mint was focused on continuing to produce this iconic coin while also dealing with new challenges in the world of coinage. The U.S. population was growing, the economy was evolving, and new technologies were being introduced to make coin production more efficient. By 2004, the Mint was striking millions of dimes each year to meet the needs of a thriving economy. But just as important as meeting these needs was the continual process of ensuring the quality and consistency of the coins. The year 2004 wasn't just significant for the minting of the dime, it was a year marked by other major changes in U.S. coinage. For instance, in 2004, the U.S. Mint was in the midst of its state quarter program, which had begun in 1999 and continued into the early 2000s. The program had been a massive success, with the Mint producing quarters featuring designs from all 50 states. These quarters were a major draw for collectors, and millions of people began to take a closer look at coins in general. Coin collecting was experiencing a revival, and the public's interest in numismatics was growing. However, the 2004 dime wasn't part of that program. It remained the same as its predecessors, continuing to feature the familiar design of Roosevelt on the obverse and the torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse. While the coin itself wasn't as flashy as the state quarters or the new designs of other denominations, it had an enduring appeal. It was a simple, reliable, and instantly recognizable piece of U.S. currency, but there's more to the story than meets the eye. While the vast majority of 2004 dimes that were produced in the U.S. Mint were perfectly ordinary and worth just 10 cents, there were a select few that were not so ordinary. As with any coin production process, errors are bound to happen from time to time. And when they do, they can make for some very valuable and highly sought-after pieces. One of the most intriguing aspects of the 2004 dime was the potential for misstrikes and minting errors. These errors, though they might seem like small imperfections, can turn an otherwise normal coin into a rare collector's item. A coin that was accidentally struck with too much or too little pressure, or one that was misaligned, could become the subject of intense interest in the numismatic world. In 2004, one of the more common errors involved the dime being struck with off-center designs or die clashes. These errors occurred when the dies used to strike the coin were not perfectly aligned or when the pressure applied during the minting process was uneven. As a result, certain 2004 dimes were produced with a distorted or misaligned image of Roosevelt's portrait or a reverse design that was partially missing or poorly stamped. But these misaligned and off-center dimes weren't the only anomalies. There were also cases of double strikes, where a coin was struck more than once by the same die. This error creates a faint, secondary image of the design, adding a layer of mystery and uniqueness to the coin. In the world of coin collecting, these errors are often highly valued because they create one-of-a-kind pieces that stand out from the rest. For collectors, the appeal of these 2004 dimes was undeniable. The rarity of the minting errors, combined with the established popularity of the Roosevelt dime design, made these coins highly sought after. Coin collectors are always on the lookout for rare and unique items, and even a minor error on a coin can make it significantly more valuable than a perfectly struck version of the same year. Some of the most prized 2004 dimes have sold for thousands of dollars at auctions, far exceeding their face value. What might have been a simple dime in someone's pocket became, in the eyes of a numismatist, a treasure worth far more than the 10 cents stamped on it. Coins with errors like these can often fetch much higher prices depending on their rarity, the nature of the error, and their condition. Now, let's talk about the biggest reason why these 2004 dimes, particularly those with significant minting errors, have captured the imagination of collectors and enthusiasts: their extraordinary value in today's market. It's not just the rarity of the errors or the unique design that has drawn attention. It's the incredible price tags that some of these coins have commanded at auctions. One of the most remarkable sales of a 2004 dime occurred when a particularly well-preserved specimen, featuring a striking and dramatic minting error, was auctioned off for nearly $98,000. Yes, that's right, just shy of $100,000 for a dime. While most of us would never expect a simple 10-cent coin to be worth anything beyond its face value, the world of numismatics operates by a different set of rules. The value of a coin is determined not only by its age or its design but also by its rarity, historical significance, and the uniqueness of any errors it might carry. For those fortunate enough to find one of these error-filled dimes, the payoff can be extraordinary. But it's not just about the monetary value. There's a certain prestige and excitement that comes with owning a coin that is both rare and highly coveted by collectors around the world. A coin like this is more than just currency, it's a piece of history, a story in itself, and a symbol of the fascinating world of coin collecting. So, what makes a 2004 dime with an error so valuable? In the most straightforward terms, it's rarity and demand. The fewer coins with a certain error that exist, the more valuable they become. And because coin collectors are constantly searching for rare, high-quality specimens, the demand for these unique dimes drives up their prices. When a dime has a rare and significant minting error, such as an off-center strike, double strike, or misaligned die, it stands out from the hundreds of millions of other dimes produced that year. This uniqueness makes the coin an attractive option for those looking to build a collection or make an investment. In the end, the story of the 2004 USA 1 dime is one of unexpected value, rare beauty, and the timeless appeal of coin collecting. While most of these dimes will remain worth just 10 cents, those few with minting errors continue to capture the imagination of collectors and numismatists. And who knows? The next time you find a 2004 dime in your pocket change, it might just be worth far more than you ever imagined. Imagine it's a warm summer day in 1982. Ronald Reagan has just taken office, and the United States is in the midst of a period of economic recovery. The year marked a shift in American culture, with people embracing new technology, music, and fashion. But in the world of coins, something unexpected was brewing. Among the familiar clink and clatter of everyday change, a certain dime, seemingly ordinary, was quietly making its way into circulation. Little did anyone know, this humble 10-cent piece would soon become one of the most intriguing rarities in the coin collecting world. At first glance, a dime is nothing special. It's small, often overlooked, and easy to forget in the hustle and bustle of everyday life. But when you start peeling back the layers of history, design, and minting processes that brought the 1982 USA 1 dime coin into existence, you begin to realize how much more there is to this tiny piece of American history. Let's step back in time a bit. The history of the dime dates all the way back to the early days of the U.S. Mint, when the nation was still finding its footing as an independent country. The dime, initially created as a means of making smaller purchases more convenient, has seen a number of different designs over the centuries. But by the 1980s, the design that was featured on the dime had remained largely unchanged for several decades. That iconic image of Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse of the coin, facing right, was first struck in 1946, just a year after the death of the 32nd president. Roosevelt had been instrumental in guiding the U.S. through the Great Depression and World War II, and his image quickly became synonymous with American resilience. The reverse, featuring a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, was designed to symbolize liberty, peace, and strength. However, in 1982, something happened. A unique set of circumstances, economic, technological, and political, came together, leading to the creation of a rare and valuable version of the 1982 dime. Before we dive into that, let's first explore the minting details of the dime and what made the 1982 coin so distinctive. You see, the United States Mint had been undergoing significant changes during this period. For decades, the dime had been struck in 90% silver. However, by the early 1980s, silver prices were rising sharply, and the mint faced increasing costs. In response to this, the U.S. Mint made the controversial decision to begin striking dimes in a new composition, an alloy of copper and nickel, commonly known as cupronickel. The first dimes struck from this new metal mix were minted in 1982. But here's where things get interesting. The 1982 dimes that were produced included two distinct variations. One was made from the usual copper-nickel blend, but the other was struck with a higher concentration of copper in the composition due to a mistake during the minting process. This small error led to a very limited number of coins being produced with this distinct metal mix, and thus, the 1982 dime was born with a very rare variety. Now, you might be thinking, okay, it's just a small variation. Why does this matter? Well, the answer lies in the rarity of this mistake. Minting errors, even small ones, can significantly affect the value of a coin. Coin collectors, or numismatists, are always on the lookout for unusual or rare variations of coins, as these can dramatically increase the worth of a piece. And this is where the story of the 1982 USA 1 dime coin takes a fascinating turn. Imagine finding a coin that, on the surface, looks identical to the others, but upon closer inspection, you discover that it's not quite like the rest. A single minting error can make a coin go from being worth just 10 cents to something much, much more valuable. In the case of the 1982 dime, this error went unnoticed by most until coin collectors started examining their change more closely, seeking out anything unusual. When they did, they made an extraordinary discovery. A number of these dimes, struck with a slightly different copper-nickel blend, were not only more rare but also exhibited slight differences in their weight, size, and even appearance. This made them a perfect target for coin collectors who were eager to add something rare and unusual to their collections. Suddenly, the 1982 USA 1 dime coin, with its minor variation, became a highly sought-after piece, and those who had stumbled upon one found themselves sitting on a potential fortune. As the years went on, the demand for these rare 1982 dimes only grew. A few lucky individuals who happened to have one of these rare pieces found themselves in possession of something much more valuable than they had realized. Collectors began to eagerly search for these dimes, and as the rarity became better known, the value of the coin skyrocketed. Fast forward to today, and the 1982 USA 1 dime coin has become a coin collecting sensation. But just how valuable is this dime? How much are collectors willing to pay for one of these rare coins? Well, in the world of coin collecting, a 1982 dime in pristine condition, particularly one with the rarer copper-nickel variation, can fetch a staggering price. Some of these coins have been sold at auction for incredible sums, with one of the most notable examples reaching a value of over $122,000. Yes, you heard that right. A dime, something most people would consider to be practically worthless in the context of everyday transactions, can now command a price that is, frankly, mind-blowing. So, how did we get here? What makes this dime worth so much money? The answer lies in the rarity of the coin, the error in the minting process, and the intense demand from collectors. When a coin is minted with a mistake, especially one that isn't widely recognized at first, it can become a highly coveted item. Collectors are willing to pay a premium for these mistakes, as they represent a unique piece of history, a moment when something rare and valuable slipped through the cracks of the U.S. Mint's production process. The allure of the 1982 USA 1-dime coin also lies in the fact that it is still, in many ways, part of a modern-day mystery. How many of these rare dimes were produced? And how many are still out there, hidden in coin jars, change purses, or forgotten in the bottom of drawers? That's what makes this particular dime so exciting to collectors. It's not just about the value of the coin, but also about the thrill of the hunt, the discovery, and the story behind each individual coin. If you happen to come across a 1982 dime in your change, take a moment to inspect it closely. Look for any signs of that rare copper-nickel variation. You might just be holding onto a piece of history, and a potential small fortune. For those who are just beginning their journey into the world of coin collecting, the 1982 USA 1-dime coin is a perfect example of how even the most seemingly mundane coins can hold hidden value. It's a reminder that in the world of numismatics, there's always more to discover, more to learn, and, sometimes, more to find than meets the eye. As we look ahead, the 1982 dime continues to be a favorite among collectors, and its value is likely to rise even further as time goes on. It stands as a testament to the rich history of American coinage and the ever-changing nature of the minting process, reminding us that even in the smallest, most overlooked objects, there can be a wealth of history, mystery, and value waiting to be uncovered. It's the early 1980s, and the world is in the midst of significant change. In the United States, the air is filled with the optimism of a new presidential administration under Ronald Reagan, and the country is recovering from an economic recession. Pop culture is buzzing with the rise of MTV, Michael Jackson is taking over the music scene, and the world of technology is on the verge of some revolutionary changes. But as the country shifts and adapts to these new times, there's something much smaller and more unassuming at play: a coin. Specifically, the 1981 USA 1-dime. To most people, a dime is just a dime, small, quick to slip into your pocket, and just another piece of change. But for collectors, especially numismatists, this tiny, circular piece of metal is a treasure trove of history, design, and potential value. The 1981 dime, although seemingly ordinary, is one of the most fascinating coins to come out of the United States Mint in the 20th century. Let's rewind a little and talk about the dime's legacy. The United States Mint began producing dimes back in 1796, but it wasn't until 1946 that the iconic image of Franklin D. Roosevelt would be featured on the coin's obverse, front side. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, had led the country through the Great Depression and much of World War II. His leadership and impact on American history were undeniable, and when he passed away in 1945, it was only fitting that the U.S. Mint would honor him by immortalizing his likeness on the dime. The reverse of the dime features a familiar design, an image of a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch. These symbols represent liberty, peace, and strength. The combination of Roosevelt's profile and these meaningful symbols became a hallmark of the dime. This design would be used continuously, with only minor changes, for decades. By 1981, the coin's design had become iconic, instantly recognizable as a piece of America's numismatic history. But in that year, something changed that would set this particular dime apart from the rest. For collectors, the 1981 USA 1-dime coin is far more than just a simple 10-cent piece. It's a key part of the ongoing evolution of American coinage. You see, the U.S. Mint had been making some significant changes to its minting process over the years. By the early 1980s, the mint was already facing rising costs due to the increasing price of silver. This had led to a shift in the metals used to make coins, particularly in the case of the dime. From 1965 onward, the silver content in dimes was reduced, with the coin's composition changing to a copper-nickel alloy. For many collectors, the 1981 dime represented a key year in terms of transition. While most dimes from the 1980s were still struck using the same copper-nickel blend, the coins themselves were becoming more abundant, as the United States Mint was pumping out more dimes than ever before to keep up with the growing demands of a booming economy. But this coin, like so many other seemingly standard coins, was not without its stories. Now, let's talk about what made the 1981 dime particularly interesting for collectors. You see, while the vast majority of these dimes were struck using the standard copper-nickel blend, a select few ended up with a subtle but very important difference. There was a specific variation of the 1981 dime, one that, at the time, wasn't fully recognized by the mint or by the general public. A small number of these dimes were struck with a slightly different alloy, with the copper-nickel mixture being slightly off, causing minor variations in their appearance, weight, and overall finish. This tiny, nearly imperceptible difference in composition was due to a minting error, but it wasn't widely known at the time. For years, collectors continued to seek out these coins, many of them unsure exactly what they were looking for. As they carefully examined their dimes, they began to realize that a rare few coins were carrying a very special characteristic that made them highly coveted. These rare, error-struck 1981 dimes were not only unique in terms of their composition, but they also carried an air of mystery. How many of these coins were produced? And, more importantly, how many of them still existed in circulation? For years, these questions went unanswered. Now, in the world of coin collecting, errors, especially those that occur in the minting process, are highly prized. Even a small error can elevate a coin's status from ordinary to extraordinary, and in the case of the 1981 dime, the tiny minting variation had collectors on the edge of their seats. The error didn't just make these coins rare, it made them desirable. People began to dig through their coin jars, scouring their change, hoping to find one of these elusive pieces that might be hiding somewhere among the sea of standard dimes. The value of these error coins began to rise steadily as more collectors realized their rarity. But it wasn't until the 2000s, when the 1981 dimes with the minting error were fully catalogued, that their value truly began to skyrocket. Numismatists and collectors alike began to realize just how rare and valuable these coins could be. They were part of a very specific moment in history, a coin that represented both a subtle error in the minting process and the broader story of American coinage. So, just how much is the 1981 USA 1 dime coin worth today? To answer that, we need to look at the rarity, condition, and collector demand. The rare 1981 dimes, those struck with the slightly off composition, can fetch significant sums, but it's not just the error that gives the coin its value. The condition of the coin is just as important. Coins that are graded at a high level, such as those that are in mint condition or those that have been preserved well over the decades, can command some truly impressive prices. While most standard 1981 dimes are worth only their face value of 10 cents, those that feature the error composition can sell for anywhere from hundreds to thousands of dollars. But the real kicker, the jaw-dropping moment in the story of this particular dime, is when you look at the highest known sale of a 1981 USA 1 dime coin with this rare minting error. The most valuable example of the 1981 dime, in nearly perfect condition, has been known to sell for as much as $125,000. Yes, you heard that right. A dime, worth just 10 cents when it was first struck, has become a coin that can fetch a staggering $125,000 in today's market. This incredible value is a testament to the rarity of the coin, the error in the minting process, and the excitement that exists in the world of coin collecting. Imagine stumbling across one of these rare coins in your spare change. It's a thrilling thought, right? A dime, so often brushed aside as insignificant, could turn out to be worth a small fortune. It's a reminder that in the world of numismatics, anything can happen. A coin that looks ordinary on the surface may turn out to be a treasure, hiding in plain sight. For collectors, the 1981 dime is more than just a coin, it's a symbol of what makes numismatics so exciting. The thrill of discovery, the hunt for hidden gems, and the potential for a coin to appreciate in value over time are all part of what makes this hobby so fascinating. And the 1981 USA 1-dime coin is a perfect example of how the smallest and most overlooked pieces of currency can sometimes be the most valuable. If you're lucky enough to find one of these rare 1981 dimes, it's definitely worth taking a closer look. You might just be holding onto a piece of American history that's worth far more than its original 10-cent face value. In the end, the story of the 1981 USA 1-dime is a reminder that every coin has a story to tell, and sometimes, those stories are worth far more than anyone could have imagined. It's 2014, and across the United States, life continues to hum along. Barack Obama is serving his second term as president, the world is watching the Winter Olympics in Sochi, and social media is taking over as the new way to connect. But in the midst of all this, something seemingly insignificant is circulating everywhere: the 2014 USA 1-dime coin. At first glance, it's just like any other dime that has come before it. A small, silver-colored piece of currency, mostly unnoticed and quickly spent. But in the world of numismatics, the story behind this particular coin is anything but ordinary. Before we dive into what makes the 2014 dime so unique, let's take a moment to revisit the rich history of the dime itself. The dime, valued at 10 cents, is one of the oldest denominations of U.S. coinage, having been first minted in 1796. Over the years, the design of the dime has changed many times, but the most iconic and enduring design remains the one first introduced in 1946, Franklin D. Roosevelt's portrait on the obverse and the symbolic olive branch, oak branch, and torch on the reverse. This design, created by artist John R. Sinnock, has become an enduring symbol of the nation's spirit, liberty, and peace. Franklin Roosevelt, having led the country through the Great Depression and World War II, was chosen to grace the dime after his passing, and his image remains an important part of American coinage to this day. Fast forward to 2014. The dime has undergone a number of changes in its material composition since its introduction, but by this point in history, it is composed primarily of copper-nickel, giving it its familiar weight and appearance. And yet, in 2014, this coin, something that seems so regular in our daily lives, was about to become the focus of a very particular and very valuable chapter in American numismatics. To understand the significance of the 2014 1-dime, we need to understand the minting process. Each year, millions of dimes are struck by the U.S. Mint. These coins go through a rigorous process involving the design and engraving of the coin's images, the creation of dies to stamp the coin's design, and the actual striking of the metal. The result is the mass production of dimes that enter circulation, ready to be spent by the public, but as with any mass-produced item, there is always the possibility of error. In the world of coin collecting, even the smallest error can turn an otherwise ordinary coin into something extraordinary. The 2014 dime, like many coins before it, was produced in high quantities. But it wasn't long before eagle-eyed collectors began to spot something unusual about some of these dimes. You see, a number of the 2014 dimes that were minted contained subtle, yet fascinating variations. These variations weren't immediately apparent to the general public, they weren't immediately obvious in your typical pocket change. But to a collector, a slight difference in design, metal composition, or minting process can make all the difference. Some of the 2014 dimes exhibited strange imperfections in their strikes. These errors were subtle but caught the attention of collectors, particularly those with an eye for the rare and unusual. While these imperfections may have been dismissed by most as minting flaws, to collectors, these flaws could be a ticket to a valuable find. After all, any minting error, however minor, can increase a coin's desirability and value. And in the case of the 2014 dime, these errors were even more significant because of their rarity. They became highly coveted among numismatists. One of the most notable and rare variants of the 2014 dime was the so-called double die variety. This error happens when a coin die, the tool used to stamp the design onto the blank coin, strikes the coin multiple times, causing the image to appear doubled or blurred. In the case of the 2014 dime, this double die effect occurred on the obverse, specifically around Roosevelt's portrait. This double image of Roosevelt's features made the coin stand out, and collectors began to scour their change, hoping to find one of these elusive double die specimens, but it wasn't just the double die variety that intrigued collectors. There were also some 2014 dimes with unique variations in their mint marks. Coins are typically stamped with a mint mark, indicating which of the U.S. mint facilities struck the coin. However, certain dimes produced in 2014 were found with mint marks that appeared to be misstamped or incomplete. These small but intriguing differences made certain coins particularly desirable to collectors looking for errors or oddities, but perhaps the most fascinating aspect of the 2014 dime is the way in which these errors were discovered. Coin collectors, especially those who specialize in recent coinage, were quick to identify these unusual variations. It's a hobby that thrives on patience, attention to detail, and a good dose of luck. For many collectors, the 2014 dime became a holy grail of sorts, a modern-day coin that was as elusive as it was valuable, but here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. As the 2014 dimes continued to circulate and collectors began to take note of these errors, something unexpected happened. A handful of these coins, particularly those with the most distinct and well-documented errors, were found in remarkably pristine condition. In the world of coin collecting, condition is just as important as rarity, if not more so. Coins that have been well preserved, free from damage, scratches, or other imperfections, are worth far more than those that have been heavily worn or circulated. One of the most valuable examples of the 2014 dime error was found to be in nearly perfect condition, nearly flawless, with the double die effect clearly visible and the coin showing no signs of wear or damage. This pristine, error-struck dime quickly became the subject of intense bidding wars among collectors. But how much was this coin really worth? Was it worth thousands, tens of thousands, or perhaps even more? The answer is truly astonishing. One of the rarest and most sought-after 2014 dimes, complete with the double die error, flawless condition, and perfect strike, sold at auction for a staggering $125,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. A single dime, once worth only 10 cents, had become a $125,000 treasure. The reason for such an incredible price tag is a combination of factors. First, the rarity of the error itself. Double die varieties, especially those found on recent coinage, are not easy to come by. Second, the condition of the coin. Coins that are found in near-mint condition are always more valuable than those with visible wear. And third, the excitement and competition among collectors. It's a hot market, and when a coin like this becomes available, the price can soar. So, what makes the 2014 dime so special in the grand scheme of coin collecting? It's a perfect storm of rarity, error, and demand. What was once an ordinary piece of currency, circulating quietly among everyday change, became an object of intense interest and, for some, an incredibly profitable find. Now, you might be wondering, how can you spot one of these rare 2014 dimes with the double die error? The key is careful inspection. Look closely at the image of Roosevelt's face on the obverse of the coin. If the features appear doubled or blurry in certain areas, you might just have one of these rare varieties on your hands. It's all about attention to detail, and sometimes, luck. While they're not easy to come by, when you find one, you could be holding a small fortune in your hands. And there's still one final question: how many of these error coins are out there? The truth is, no one knows for sure. The rarity of these dimes, particularly those in perfect condition, only increases their mystique and desirability. Some collectors believe there are only a handful of these error-struck coins still in existence. Others believe that more are waiting to be found, hidden away in change jars, tucked into coin collections, or even lost in the depths of pocket change. In the world of coin collecting, there's always a sense of anticipation and excitement. The 2014 USA 1-dime coin is a perfect example of how even the most ordinary of coins can become a valuable and rare collectible. And, for the lucky few who stumble upon a pristine, error-struck dime, the payoff can be astronomical. So, the next time you receive change at the store, take a moment to inspect the coins you're handed. You never know, you might just discover that hidden gem that could make you a small fortune.